Oh, the amount of over-engineering I'm doing wasted. It is... Honestly, I imagine it's much the same when you've been playing things like Scrap Mechanic or anything like that. Like this system over here, I'm turning space rocks into power. So I've got sweepy docks over here, robo miners. As these close, once they open up, all this regolith will drop down. The robo miners will mine it. Sweepies will go out and collect it, bring it back. It will be loaded up onto cargo conveyors, which will then be filtered all the way down here into this room, where it will stay until it's bled off most of its heat, most of its usable heat, and the steam generators have converted that back into, have eaten the heat and converted it into energy. Then it will be allowed out, cooled down a little bit more before being dropped into the rest of the base. Unless it's regolith, in which case it will be fed back up here into my shovels, who will in turn feed my duplicants. Don't believe this number. We're actually capable of producing millions of calories. It's just not before it rots. But there's a continuous throughput of extremely large amounts of meat into this base. The duplicants occasionally do weird things, and I put it down to the meat sweats. A common problem for duplicants and Vikings, from what I understand. Too much meat. Let's get these built a little bit faster, though, shall we? Pop. No, actually, no, faster, I said, not slower. I remember when I got tired of Oni. I had thermodynamics lessons, PTSD. Yeah, that is quite fair. Was this a new colony when you started? Did you do this in one stream? No, this is several streams worth. I've got an ongoing like VOD series on my second channel. If you type !@ archives in chat, it will give you the link to my Aavak After Hours channel. It's on like 230 or something like that. Some of the episodes are like 30 minutes long. Most of them are more like 45 to an hour long. This is a long time. We're on cycle 2091. I've been learning, so I've not been rushing anything. I've been taking my sweet time and just enjoying the experience of because I can. Pretty much. This is because I can the game. Where are we going on the rocket? Well, I mean, I could launch it right now, actually, but the low power is a little bit of a concern for me, because my robo-miners aren't going to do any mining, which is kind of an issue. I might want to get a little bit more oomph in here. How much hydrogen have we got? We haven't really got much of a backup, no. Thankfully, the steam generators have kicked in. The lack of natural gas is a problem. How long until one of the volcanoes erupts and generates power? This is actually dormancy in 4.3 cycles. It's going to erupt reasonably soon. Yeah, it's erupting right now. So this room's going to heat up, but it's only got 2 generators in it. This one is probably going to be a little while. Yeah, it's most likely going to be, 8.3 cycles before it erupts. So we've got a while before this one starts generating power. We're on 253 according to the playlist. Oh, there we go then. Got a big old volcano over here that I would like to tame into a power source. I'd very much like to tame that into a power source if I had the opportunity to. I'm a little bit surprised that these down here are not getting enough power, frankly. Well, I suppose that makes sense, actually thinking about it. These are running... They're getting a little bit of a top-up, but only this one oil well and these 2 refineries are getting powered by this. This is basically it's a separate network. Well, kind of. It's a one-way connection to the main power spine. It can receive power, but it won't dump power back out, and it's got 2 dedicated coal generators that will keep these batteries topped up so that this continuously gets power. I could adjust this to also charge a separate battery if I really wanted to. There's perhaps a reason for that. The other thing I could do is I could simply adjust this so that these were much higher capacity wires. And then I had a transformer running this. That might not be a bad idea, actually. That isn't a bad idea, because that would give me 2 oil wells at the very least, which would provide me with enough petroleum to run things. This is not running anymore, sadly. And we're not getting really any more petroleum into the system there from that source. Yeah, my Slickster farm, while it does produce large amounts of petroleum, it's slow to do it. Yeah, I think having some new transformers would be wise, and having that run off a dedicated backup energy source. That way, if the main grid is producing power, these will always be so heavily charged that the coal generators will never kick in. But if not, then I've got 2 coal generators that can kind of pick up the slack a little bit. That being said, they're not going to generate a whole heck of a lot of power. So it's a bit of a, will this really help me, or is it just going to make me feel better kind of scenario? Either way, let's get that done. So I'm going to want a large transformer about here. Sure, let's pop that there. We'll use copper, there's no reason not to. And then we're going to want another one about... I could put it here, honestly, and just run it all the way through there. But if I run it through this, then it's going to save me a little bit of extra trouble. Put that there. We're going to want a heavy watt joint plate made of iron. There we go. Vivi Shadow, thank you very much for the 11 months, mate. Good to see you again, Aavak. Here is my prime for you. Thank you very much. Gratefully received. The big power lines look unupgraded. If you look really closely, you can see the wires that are coloured in the background. This is a very different shape of wire. You can see a better example of that one here. It's basically it's sleeved. The sleeved wires can carry significantly larger amounts of power. So you've got your basic wire, which can carry 1,000 watts. Your conductive wire, which is sleeved, can carry 2,000. Your heavy watt wire, which can carry 20,000. And then you've got the heavy conductive, again sleeved, which can carry 50. So I'm in the process of upgrading the entire power spine because, as you can see, the potential draw on the system is over my maximum safe capacity. So along the main power spine, there would be burnouts and wires would get broken. And if your main power spine burns out, that's bad news bears. Because you've got no control over where in the spine that it goes down. Just that all of a sudden something is not getting power that probably very much needs it. We'll have that down there, and this down there. There we go. Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that like that, because if I run this straight through, I'm still going to be going through the abyssal light, and I don't want to do that. Trying to preserve that where I can. We'll pop this over here instead. There we go. Thank you very much, Saitatus. Diolch yn fawr iawn for the 38 months, buddy. 3 years already. Time flies. It certainly does. And Ethilium. I hope I said that right. Thank you very much for the 16 months. Well, do I have much granite? I actually don't think I do. I may as well use sandstone. There's really no reason not to. Not for something like this, anyway. There we go. Tunk. And then we will grab the conductive wire. We're still going to use copper for this, I think. No reason to stop. And then at this point, we're going to replace all of this all the way along. Well, that's a pain. There's no easy way of me dealing with that one. Basically, I can't cross a big wire like this with another one. They'll interact, so the two networks will no longer be isolated from one another, which is not what I want. So I'm going to have to do something very messy to make that work. Ugh, I dislike doing it, but oh well. I'm going to do this. Very messy. The spaghetti's strong here, but oh well. Right, I'm going to make this an incredibly high priority so that we can get all of this done quickly. There we go. Good morning, Sakun. How you doing, mate? Rather salt. That reminds me of industrial craft and its different wires. You would have I imagine tin rather than tine, and copper for the low end, but the more voltage the wire had, the thicker the wire block got, so you would arrive at HV wire, which was almost a full block in size. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Nuki World, thank you very much for the gifts up there. That's super kind of you. Thank you, mate. Why not have my power spine as the high-grade wiring and then branch off? I kind of do. I'm just using this because there's not really any reason not to at this point. I'm material rich. This colony is quite wealthy in terms of material. Large part because we're basically getting infinite amounts of damage overheated. What overheated? Oh. Huh. I didn't realize that would overheat. Okay. But yeah, what I was going to say is that we're getting iron, copper, gold from space on the regular. I am also getting copper, refined copper from a volcano. We're quite material wealthy. That's not a concern that I have, really. So why not make, it takes up the same amount of space. When you've got enough material that it isn't a concern, space is the only really big thing we need to worry about. We're rich, yeah. We're material wealthy, energy poor. Much sad. Oh, stop moving around, you scallywag. Nope. In here, see, I've got a backup energy source inside the base because the only way out of the base generally is via a transit tube. I do have a mechanized door that I can open in absolute emergencies. But again, I have a one-way connection here. So this battery will accept charge from the main grid, but won't ever allow any charge backwards. But if it's out of power, then someone runs on the wheel until they can use it and they can jump out through the transit tube. Getting back is another matter entirely, but, yeah. Tybalt King, hello mate. It's us, changed my name. Glad to find you're doing well in these crazy times. Thank you very much, buddy. I hope you are as well. There we are. Most of this is sorted now. Really do need to clean up all of this gubbins off the floor, though. It is causing issues. Slowly building up the petroleum in here. Once the crude oil is gone, then this is going to be a much more accurate show of how much fuel is stockpiling, but it'll take a little bit of time. Coal engines have engaged. Gradually charging the batteries, no, not very quickly. And the moment we hook up more things to this, it's going to be even worse. Well, I guess we could jump up there. Sure. Well, actually, you know what? I'm doing all of this work to set all of this up, and I could have done this in so much of a better way. I cannot believe how dumb I am. Sometimes it hurts me, chat. I witness my stupidity, and it pains me greatly. Let me get rid of these wires. Now that one is still going to be a bit of an issue. And there's no... Well, actually, no. There is even an easy way to sort that one out as well. And that is simply to do this. And break this connection. Again, it'll still charge these batteries, but these batteries will then supply the power to both of these. Now it does reduce the throughput of power, which might be a bit of an issue later down the line. But for a slower charge speed, this will allow both of these systems to be independent and operate independently, which is much, much better for us. I can also then do this. Right, Aavak is dumb. But he spotted the dumbness before it became too bad. Yeah, transit tubes are super, super power hungry, but in a base this big, so much of my dupe's time was spent walking, I literally had no other option. I needed to have some fast way of moving around. Also, I kind of like having environmentally sealed areas as well. And transit tubes are about the most sealed an area can be. But I totally know what you mean there, so... Right, let's get rid of these. And carry this on down. Delete that. Pop these up on a 7 priority just to get it all cleared out. But yeah, once again, a little bit low on power. Aavak, your dumbness has been noted and documented, don't worry. I never have to worry about that, do I? Right. There we go. Good, you're getting all of that sorted. Perfect. And there we are. Powered up all of this now. Excellent. So these will start producing more crude oil, which in turn gets fed down, once that gets turned into petroleum, up into the generators, which, you know, alleviates some of our problems, but not a lot of them. I could, of course, you know, allow this to run better. You know what, sure. I'll just allow that to pump all of this petroleum out because it's a bit of a concern. But mostly this is there just for the places where petroleum has kind of gone awry a bit. Hang on a second. But why? Oh, no! So you know that... you know how that cheap way of not having to use power to filter out stuff? Yeah. 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 Very sadness. Very sadness. Sorry, whoever ends up doing this job, but come along and do it quickly. Because it's literally breaking the generators right now. There we are. Good. Empty it out. You're going to have to do it faster than that, though. So bad. What I could do, actually. Break that pipe. There we go. Some days it hurts. Get all of this filtered out, please. Go, go, go. Now, we've broken that system, so it should be okay again. But I'm not going to be able to set this up until there's more petroleum along the way. So we're not going to be able to do it for quite some time, basically. Ah, my lord. But that is... It is how you use the cheeky system, but unlike the filter, which is kind of got fault tolerance built in, not so much with this one. Like a filter, you can basically have it only work if everything is you know, correct, if the right sort of material is being filtered through. Oh no, and I've been feeding it to my plastic machines, and why? How much random junk is in here? Get out! How much? 120 kilos of water in my petroleum reservoir. Aavak is very sad. Yeah, fresh water and petroleum. Basically, I was showing chat how to get the power-free filters, but they can never be interrupted. Once you've got it running, that's it. You need to never mess with it again. Because if you do, this. They are very fragile. There's no fault tolerance built into them at all. Yeah, that is completely bricked one of my polymer presses. Well. I'll let them just keep working through it. It's only steel. I've got basically infinite amounts, but annoying. Oh, no! And then Aavak realized how much of a mess everything was making. And he was very sad. On the plus side, the pressure in here is so high, it would never have been able to off-gas. But still don't like it. Alright, there we go. Everything's turning back on now. Don't cross your metaphors. I mean your streams. Yes. So what you're saying is this was an expert level demonstration of what we shouldn't do. How to do it, why it's useful and tempting to do, and also what happens when it goes wrong. That's quite right. This was a full package demonstration. Explained what to do, why you might want to, why it's good, and then demonstrated why it's really not actually good at all, and it's a trap. That's exactly what happened, chat. You've read the situation correctly. But yeah, if those systems are built, it comes down to choose your cheese, basically. But it does. It is quite a nice system because it's free and the filters are very much not. They're 120 watts. But yeah, the consequence of anything going wrong with that is particularly dire. Particularly dire. There we go. Nice stream of petroleum coming in now. all of the engines running at the same time. It's good, good, good. Alright, I would like to... You know what? Let's use some steel for this. I may as well. I've got 12,000. Oops. There we go. Right, where's the power spine? Actually over here, which I can just run straight through. Well, I will be able to eventually. And then straight up. Just connect up at each location. Done, done and dusted. Yeah, I'm happy with that. This one is going to have a little bit of trouble because it's going to... Well, I guess I can just take it straight out instead, which isn't as clean of a way of doing it, but it would work. Now, what I don't want to do is hook this up, is disconnect this before this is hooked up. That would actually be dangerous for me because it would mean that the bunker doors would open. So I want to make sure that that's all set up first. There we go. Yeah, one pump is really not going to work. If we set up any kind of automation that requires that silo is vented, is a vacuum before it allows the bunker doors to open, we need to be able to empty it faster. That's just a simple reality there. We need it to empty faster. There we go. And now that the oil wells are running again, we're producing a little bit of extra natural gas, which will in turn feed into our natural gas generators. All of them being tuned up. Well, most of them being tuned up. It would be great if they tuned these up, but there we are. The coolant here is only cooling these two generators. So they don't run particularly often. It used to be that this system was actually planned for a much larger system. But I decided against it in the end. I've had a lot of plans that didn't come to fruition here, but I feel that I learned a lot from it all the same. I think in the future, I will probably try something like that again. Let's get everything in here swept, please. Take it to where it's meant to be. Let's clean this place up. And this is why I can't play this game. It makes my head spin. Aavak threw the sword at me before I can dodge. That's the best time. You've got to catch them by surprise, otherwise they might wriggle away. We've got a printable. Let's go and have a look. I've got 3,700 tons. I don't think I actually need any more. Oh no! I've been pumping air out into the air, Chad. Truly a splendiferous time. Yeah, it's iron. I got so distracted by so many other things that I just allowed this place to fall to rack and ruin. Actually, let's get all of this done rather quickly, especially that. This is why I can't play this game. It makes my head spin. So many pipes, yeah. But the pipe spaghetti is so delicious in this game, though. Some games, the spaghetti is it's more of a pain than it is of a delicacy. But no, this is definitely a delicacy kind of spaghetti, in my opinion. Yeah, we can break it down from around there. Right. Still waiting for that to be broken down. My 12 dupes have got so many jobs to do. It's bonkers. That hurts me, though. Knowing how much power each one of these uses takes. That hurts a lot. Damn it. Oh, that hurts even more. Why? Okay, at least now this place can actually be vacuumed. Now then, we have got everything sorted out down here reasonably. Let's get these copied over. These can be on set. No. That one still needs to be broken down. Did I break down the wrong thing in there? No, I didn't. Okay, well, I want ceramic ultra swanky refrigerator, please. There we go. Take a little bit of time to get that set up, but it should be fine. Apparently it's not going to take that long to get set up. More and more coming down. Carbon dioxide geyser. Kicking off a little bit. Got leaky oil fissure there. Water geyser. We honestly had, like, this map, as much as it is difficult, and that's why chat chose it for me, we have been crazy lucky with the geyser setups that we've had. Absolutely ridiculous levels of luck. Right, with that, let's just make sure that all of this gets hooked up, and then we're good to go. Take care, Vivid Shadow. Thanks for dropping by, mate. Now, I'm going to be going on a tea break in just a few minutes. It is high time. We have been live for 4 hours since the last tea break. Do you know how much damage can be done to a person's throat when they've gone for 4 hours without tea? Every time you've ever woken up with a sore throat, it's because you weren't drinking tea in your sleep. True facts. Iced tea only counts because I feel sympathy for cultures where that is the norm. If you know better, then it does not count, no. Well, this is starting to look a little bit better now. What was going on there? Shouldn't be. Did the pipe get damaged somehow? I mean, the water... Oh, yeah, it probably got way too hot in there, I imagine. Yeah. I mean, if it gets up to 120, it breaks. It's that simple. Oh, dear Lord. How about I set this to 25? Because that is way too... Well, that's way too high. If it's still above 25, then it gets cooled down a little bit more. But that's going to be making this place an ice box. It's not quite what I wanted. I mean, it's probably lovely. Definitely my kind of temperature in there. But a little bit of a frivolous use of power when we don't have much to spare. Does tea that's cooled down count? I mean, sometimes I'm going to be honest, that's what I'm drinking. Because, like, you know, 4 hours before going and brewing a new cup means that my tea is cold. But cold tea is not iced tea. These are very different things. Very, very different things. Right, okay. Once that's done, I'm going to be brave. And step away for a bit. Actually... Actually, no. We will fix this. This is the thing that we're going to fix before I go and do anything else. Gonna break this. Gonna break that. All of that gets broken down. This will then connect across. Actually, no, we can connect across there. Game. Yeah, that works. And then we want a connective bridge there. But I've got to wait for other things to be shut down first. This is going to be a bit... unfortunately, all of this kind of needs to happen at the same time, and it is probably going to overload the system. So I'm just going to have to accept it. Priority 9. Go, go, go. Get this done. On the plus side, if there's no power when this happens, then it will be fine. I don't know. From what I've seen, a heat wave in the UK means the sun came out. Pretty much, yeah. I have 27 and London goes wild. Yes. It's not really that bad, but it, you know, joking aside, it isn't that far off either. It is kind of weird. The thing that it's a cultural thing. It really is, because it's like I've had American friends. Why do you have air conditioning? It's like, because that's not normal in the UK. You don't typically have houses with air conditioning in the UK. And they're like, well, why not? Because you all seem to have issues with this. Because our houses are built of brick. They're not like timber framed houses or timber walled in some cases. British houses are built to retain heat. So if the temperature outside goes up by even like 2 or 3 degrees, suddenly the inside of your house is a sauna. And yeah, you'd need air conditioning for 5 days of the year, pretty much, yeah. In the winter, it's surprisingly manageable. And but outside of the winter, a little bit less so. Right, I need this. Oh goodness, that's going to end up in there, isn't it? I'm not going to risk it. I say no. What I am going to do, though, is hook all of this up to you directly. Actually, I'm going to have that go through the floor instead. Decommission all of that. That's fine. And then just need a little... Oh, really? Little bit of wire moving along here. And connect that up. Right. Once this is done, then we are good to go. I think. How's the humidity in the UK? It depends on what part. Although the UK is a really, really small landmass, it has quite a diverse biomes, I guess you could say. It's not quite as disparate as like, oh well, over here is a desert and over here is a marsh, but depending on what part of the UK, you'll have very different humidity levels. Like Wales and Scotland are much more likely to see rain, much more likely to have standing groundwater, so there's a bit more humid in those areas. Certain parts of England, they rarely see a cloud, much less have it rain. It all depends. But being an island nation, you're never very far away from a coast, so that also has a fairly big effect. Yeah, as top writer, in the southeast you get a lot of humidity because you're pretty the proximity to the coast. In the middle of England, you're gonna see a lot less humidity because it's not hilly and it's as far away from the coast as you're gonna get in Britain. But our idea of dry is probably very different from a country where you might have one area that's really, really wet and then another area that is legitimately a desert. There we go. Steam vents turned on very briefly. Very, very briefly, but, it turned on for a moment there. How are we doing in here? It's almost a vacuum in this area now.
Looking dapper.
Still retained most of its heat, though, which is quite cool. Alright, I think it's time for me to go on a tea break, chat. We've more or less gone out of the worst of it. So let's go ahead and drop a save right there. Tonk. Hey, Jake Toady, how you doing? Welcome, buddy. Thank you so much for the 47 months. This save file takes so long to save now. Right, resume. Now, who are we going to follow? We are going to follow someone who does... You know what? We're going to go with... Cot. What are you up to right now, Cot? Pronk. You are doing important things, no doubt. Alright. Time for a tea break. I'm going to step aside for a couple of minutes. I'm not going to be taking care of Tally's meds, though, so it's not going to be as long as last time. But I will be hunting down Tilly, making sure that she feels okay. Sometimes she feels a little bit neglected when I stream for a while. And we'll probably be back in about 5 minutes. So get comfy and enjoy as we follow Cot around. In fact, let me zoom out just a little bit so it's a little bit less jarring. You can watch what Cot gets up to. See you all very, very soon. Oh, Tilly is with Sheila. That's good to know. Right, back soon. Ready your teapots. Well done,